how men destroy their confidence. If you want to find the right girlfriend or a wife and you want to feel more confident in your dating life and in everyday life, this video is for you. I'm going to give you practical tips that I've used with clients from 38 countries who have already helped find the right girlfriend or wife that will have a measurable impact on your experience. Because remember, how confident you are, yes, depends on the competence, the skill set of dating and building attraction, but it is also a mental and emotional state that we can create at any given point in time. And here's a couple of mistakes that you have to stop making if you want to feel really good as a man and you want to be able to create true and lasting attraction in the initial dating stages and in your relationship later on. The first mistake you're making is you're focusing on what you cannot control. You're focusing on whether she'll like you, whether the date is going to go well. What if it goes wrong? You're focusing on something that is outside of your realm of control, not outside of your realm of influence. Absolutely, you can influence it, but by focusing on the end outcome of the date, on getting into a relationship with her, on making it work. The more you focus on something that you can't control, the more stressed you'll be. And stress, fear, anxiety, these are all synonyms for fear. And fear is the opposite of confidence. Now, you could make an argument that in order to be courageous, there has to be fear first, but courage isn't quite the same thing as confidence. Confidence comes in many different forms. One of the ways in which confidence manifests itself is almost an absence of feeling. A very calm, content sense of being. Not this nervousness, you feel like you're walking on eggshells around somebody, constantly pinging off of her for her reaction, for her approval, for her validation. So what you can do instead is simply ask yourself, what can I control right now? I can focus on self-amusement, my freedom of expression, making sure she has a great time as much as I can control it, my own actions. Not making sure she has a good time so she likes me back, so you're getting something in return, but making sure she has a great time so that, well, obviously it increases the probability that she'll be attracted to you, but you're focusing on what you're doing to make sure she has a great time. You playing your part as opposed to, again, the final outcome. What else could you focus on that would make you feel confident as opposed to what's outside of your control? You're focusing on, or you could focus on, the value that you bring to the table. You could focus on that you're a kind, loving, hardworking man who can provide experiences, stability, adventure, a sense of aliveness. You really can. You could focus on all of that, not zoning out in the middle of a date, but you could remember that. You could remember all the things you have done in the past. You could remember all the challenges you overcome. You could focus on that. And Tony Robbins says, whatever we focus on, we're going to feel. Whatever you'll focus on, you'll feel. And he says, what's wrong is always available, so is what's right. You could focus on all the things that could lend credence, be used as evidence to the seeming fact that you're not very desirable. And if you focus on it, then it becomes very real. But you could focus on all the things you've done well, all the people you've helped, the people you've cared for, and the things you're doing right now in your life where you're moving towards a better tomorrow. Just by focusing on that and remembering past wins and present wins, and maybe even anticipating a future that's greater than today that you're working towards, that already creates a sense of certainty within you. Because confidence and certainty, they're very similar. You just have to audit your patterns of focus so carefully. Because if you allow yourself to focus on things that take power away from you, no chance in hell will you be able to present yourself as the most attractive and authentic version of yourself. What else can you do that creates a sense of certainty from within other than auditing your habits of focus? And this goes way deeper. It's just on a high level. You can audit how you talk to yourself. You're on a date with her and you say, wow, she's so attractive. Wow, I really like her. I hope she likes me back. Or do you say to yourself, she's beautiful. I hope I like her. She's really attractive. I really like her values. I can really see this going somewhere. I hope I like her. Seems a little bit strange in the beginning and it might not feel very authentic, but most things that don't feel authentic yet, they're just something that you haven't established as a pattern. Most of the things that you call you, it's just an identity that you've assumed. They're just patterns. They're not really you. You've just defined yourself as such, and oftentimes in rather limiting ways. Sometimes in ways that have helped you, but oftentimes in ways that take power away from you. So if you talk to yourself in a more empowering fashion by recognizing that you have to be your own best friend, then that will add to a sense of certainty. I hope I like her. Or you can simply say, any word in your mind that makes you feel better about yourself. Now you might say, David, I have a critical inner dialogue and sometimes I tend to overthink. Fine, we all do that. And this is not about saying that you can only feel confident once there's a complete absence of negative thoughts. That's not what this is about. Negative thoughts, disempowering thoughts are going to arise every once in a while. That's perfectly fine. But you can then recognize them in the space of loving awareness and say, oh, the critical mind, the fearful mind, thank you for your opinion. I don't need you any longer, at least right now. And then just put that aside and you replace it with something more empowering, or you just recognize it in the space of loving awareness, give it space, but don't believe it. Remember, the only thoughts that have power over you are the ones you choose to believe. And if you believe disempowering and fearful thoughts, that will then create a momentum of fear, stress, anxiety, in other words, a lack of confidence and certainty from within. So taking control of your inner dialogue is absolutely vital if you want to be the most confident version of yourself. And saying negative things to yourself beyond a certain point, because in the beginning, being a little bit harsh on yourself definitely has utility. It definitely gets your ass into action. Beyond a certain point, it just takes power away from you. Gunter Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, he says that I've been able to learn a lot from, I'm not a psychologist, not pretending to be, but I've been able to learn a lot from him over the years, somewhat personally as well. And he always says that, yes, increasing dissatisfaction, emotional dissatisfaction and pain, increases our willingness to change, but it also decreases our own sense of competence. And you want to feel competent, you want to feel confident. So in the long term, dissatisfaction and just creating negativity from within won't help. That's why you can only build on success, is what Tony says. So what I would invite you to do is audit very carefully how you speak to yourself, because you're in control of that. You can just utter new empowering words to yourself. You sit in front of the laptop, you close a project, and you can say, that was fucking awesome. Well done. That was really good. That's amazing. You can start saying these things. If you don't celebrate wins like that, your confidence is going to go down. You actually have to utter these empowering words to yourself in your own mind. If you don't do that, nobody else will. You might get occasional praise every once in a while, but if you want to be self-sustaining throughout the dating process, for example, or in other areas in your life, then you have to start creating a much more empowering inner dialogue. So refuse to live in an adversarial relationship with yourself. That's what Nathaniel Branden says in his book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Very useful book. You can read that, by the way. Refuse to live in an adversarial relationship to yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't call yourself out. If you've gone over your calories, if you haven't taken action, if you haven't done the approach, you haven't set up on dating apps yet, yeah, you want to give yourself a little bit of a kick in the ass or a knee or whatever that was, then that's okay as a temporary burst of motivation, but then you want to shift to something more empowering. Pull motivation as opposed to push motivation. The other thing that you're doing that destroys your confidence is you're using your body, your physiology, in a disempowering way. For example, simply by speaking a little bit more uncertain, maybe a little bit quieter, that primes, it's called priming, a more negative and disempowering mental and emotional state. Simply by adding certainty. It doesn't mean you have to be as loud as me. You can be certain and very quiet. You can be very calm and quiet and yet have absolute certainty behind your words. If I would have said absolute, Fernanda, who's sitting over there, would have laughed, because the German every once in a while comes out and they say absolute. So I'm saying absolute. Absolute control over that. You can be absolutely certain yet quiet and calm, but put certainty behind your words. What's your body language like? 2 millimeter shifts. How do you walk? Do you hold your head up? just simply by putting your head down, that will make you feel X% more depressed over the next 7 minutes. The science of that is very clear. Power posing, going for a run, keeping your head straight, never allowing yourself to look down for too long a period of time, pulling your shoulders back. Not like an egomaniac walking around like somebody who, whose uncle didn't hug him enough when he was a child. I'm joking, by the way. If that was you, I feel sorry for you. Don't get triggered. But you pull your shoulders back just a little bit. That already makes a big difference. Use your body in a way you would if you felt confident, and that in turn is going to prime a more empowering and confident mental and emotional state. You are largely in control of the emotional reality that you create within yourself. That obviously goes a lot deeper, but I hope this was helpful already. If you want me to help you personally, if you're a man with a successful career, your own business, and you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, and you want to feel more confident and fulfilled, and yeah, you want to find somebody of real quality, then apply for a free initial consultation call with the link underneath this video. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.